Welcome back. Still watching Business Incorporated live on Channels Television. Well, major markets were rocked on Friday when the Omicron variant of COVID-19 was first identified in South Africa. Country scientists were quick to inform the global health leaders of the new mutations they had found. Those scientists have little information about the new variant and are uncertain where it originated. Several countries, including the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, and the European Union, announced almost immediate travel bans from South Africa and other southern African countries. How would all of this impact recovery of the tourism industry in southern Africa? Let's talk to Matt Kinniger now, practice lead, Sub-Saharan Africa at Front of View. Great to have you on the program.
Hi, thanks for having me on the show today.
Yeah, so how will these, latest travel bans affect the recovery of the tourism industry to southern Africa?
Yeah, so these travel bans are really a major setback, and this is because the region's tourism industry, especially in South Africa, had shown very positive signs of coming out of the COVID slump. So South Africa's tourism industry, for example, had been severely depressed well until the last couple of months. It's worth remembering that South Africa was only removed from the UK's red list, which involved a hotel quarantine when you arrived in the UK. So it was only removed from the UK's red list 6 weeks ago. And so we were only starting to see the beginnings of a tourism recovery. So certainly this is a significant setback. What we are expecting to see is in the longer term, tourists from Europe, North America, will see long-haul travel to countries in Southern Africa as particularly high risk. And this is because the rapid pace at which these travel bans have been introduced does create a significant amount of uncertainty for travel to the region. So certainly we are expecting the travel industry, the tourism industry in Southern Africa to be quite depressed for the next 3 to 6 months as a direct result of these new travel bans.
Right, and do you expect Southern African government to introduce new lockdowns to contain this Omicron variant?
So our base case is no at the moment, and this really is because of recent historical trends in Southern Africa are that governments have prioritized keeping economies open throughout the pandemic. After the first lockdowns, which were economically quite damaging, which resulted in quite a lot of social suffering and very high unemployment, especially in South Africa, governments have made sure that they've kept economies more or less open. So we expect this to continue for the foreseeable future. However, it really does depend on whether this new Omicron variant results in much worse coronavirus disease. So if it does result in intensive care beds in South Africa, for example, being overwhelmed, then we could see a tightening of commercial restrictions. The government in the past has introduced alcohol sales bans. It has tightened the nighttime curfew, for example. And in the worst case scenario, we could see maybe a lockdown of a couple of weeks. But really, our base case view is that governments will do everything they can to keep economies open to protect economic recoveries across Southern Africa.
Right, remains to be seen. But what does this Omicron variant mean for the economic growth outlook in Southern Africa?
So at the moment, the impact will be relatively mild on the growth outlook in our view. So certainly countries like South Africa, possibly Mozambique, that pre-COVID were very dependent on tourism for a degree of consumer spending, they will be affected the most by the new Omicron variant. However, the major drivers of growth for Southern Africa in 2022 are expected to be elevated commodity prices and investment into the region. So at the moment, we don't know enough about the Omicron variant to really say whether it will affect global economic growth in 2022. Our base case view at the moment is that commodity prices will remain relatively high, but it all depends on whether commodity prices fall as a result of this Omicron variant. And this is because countries like South Africa have benefited from high commodity prices. So this really will have a significant impact on the growth outlook, especially export revenues for countries like South Africa.
All right.
If commodity prices do fall.
All right, we'll keep tracking that, see how it all goes, how it all plays out. Well, thank you so much, Matt Kinniger, practice leader at Sub-Saharan Africa Front of View. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thanks very much.